Gifted women, even as they reclaim their creative lives, even as beautiful things flow from their hands, from their pens, from their bodies, still question whether they are writers, painters, artists, people, real ones. And of course they are real ones, even though they might like to bedevil themselves with what constitutes as real. A farmer is a real farmer when she looks out over the land and plants the spring crops. A runner is real when she takes the first step. A flower is real when it is yet in its mother's stem. A tree is real when it is still a seed in the pine cone. An old tree is a real living being. Real is what has life. So that was a passage from my personal Bible, Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And I wanted to open with that because the journey of our creative reclamation, especially as women, is not a simple one because there are many layers to the programming and to the bones we have to dig up in order to come to our true authentic expression. And that's what I want to talk about today. So what authentic expression is and how to actually do your soul's work. So how do you create what your soul has come here to create? So let's start with what is purpose. What is your soul's purpose? The way I see it, purpose is a living, breathing thing in your body. It's alive. It's not something you discover accidentally. It's not something you chase. It's not a career. It's actually your soul's unique frequency. Your soul chose to come into this body for a reason, because it was the perfect container for her. And I'm going to be using feminine pronouns here because that's how I experience it and that's how I see it. So like a feminine principle of the creative process, which is your inner muse. And feel free to use whatever feels right for you. But your soul talks to you through your body in many ways, and I want to focus today on two tools that are actually primordial tools of expression, and the tools that are at the beginning of creation, basically. And those two tools are sound and movement. So they're necessary for creation of your art, your business, your soul offerings, and at the end of the day, your life. Because that's how you express yourself, through your sound and through your movement. And you literally have the possibility to talk to the infinite magic of living intelligence, of God, of divine, by the use of these two tools. And we'll get deeper into it in a minute. Firstly, I want to touch on how I see authentic expression. So if our purpose is our unique frequency, it's our soul's unique frequency, and that's just what it is. It doesn't change. Our soul has that frequency from the beginning of time. And how I see authentic expression is that's the most liberated expression of that frequency. And that comes through everything that we do. So it's not about a job we have. It's not about a career. It's not about a specific medium that we use. Because when we are creatively liberated, our authentic expression will be felt through any medium. So our frequency will be emitting through everything that we do, whether it's making breakfast for our family, going to buy groceries, or writing a book, singing a song, running a business. Whatever it is, that frequency will be felt. So how do we get to that point of liberated expression? How do we get to the point of expressing our authentic self, in other words, our soul, through everything that we do? So the biggest thing we have to do is to prepare our vessel, our body, and clear out our creative river. Because when we do that, we then get to just show up to the medium and see what awaits us there. We get to show up to the blank page and be that vessel, that true vessel for the divine's creation. Be the vessel for our soul to speak through. Creation actually happens on its own if we do the prep work. So the biggest work we have to do is preparing, clearing, and tuning our vessel for the sacred flow of creation. And these are the exact steps that you can take in order to do that. So firstly, what you want to do is you want to ruthlessly eliminate all of the distractions. And I won't be going too much into this because I already talked about this previously when I was talking about the void and how this in-between space of nothingness is really important for a healthy creative practice. And I will link the video where I talked about that below. But just in short, think about your environment and your diet, because this is where your biggest distractions pulling you away from your creative work will be. So on a larger scale, if we are thinking about our environment, that can be, maybe you're living in a city. And for me personally, and I think most of us highly sensitive beings, creative beings, it just won't be nourishing for our creative practice because there are so many distractions, there is so much noise that you just can't hear. You can't hear the guidance, you can't hear your soul. And if you are currently living in a city, maybe then what you can do is prioritize being in nature more, because nature will just naturally clear out your channel. It will regulate your nervous system, it will clear away the distractions, and you will be able to hear more clearly. And on a smaller scale, if you are thinking about your environment, you want to think about if there is any clutter in the space you do your work, or just in general in your apartment, because all of these things are really subtly pulling away your attention, your focus, and your energy, which could be going in your creative work. And then we have your diet, and your diet is everything you consume in terms of social media in general, so TV shows, movies, people you hang out with, their energies. So everything your body and your mind are consuming. So take some time and be very intentional with what you want to consume. It might be useful to step away for a second from all the media you're consuming to see what you actually want to consume and what is actually inspiring for you. Because if we are using it intentionally, so if we are consuming intentionally, it can be very helpful for our creative practice. But if we are doing it unintentionally, it can destroy our creative practice, because this is where then the comparison trap can get into. This is where the perfectionism comes up. All of these things mainly come from the things we consume, from our diet. Then of course our diet is literally our diet, so what we are eating and also what we are putting on our skin, all of this. So we don't have to be perfect about it. It's just that the more intentional we are, the more we are making space for the healthy creative flow. So the next step is actually making space, and this is opening our vessel, our body, for creation. So we can do this by the use of breath and movement. And movement is really important here because, as you can see, I'm constantly making movement with my hands while I'm expressing here, because I'm literally making space within my body for my soul to express through. So when we say that someone is very expressive, we usually mean that they have big movements, or we see them kind of big, right? We see them as a big presence. That's because they are big. They have a big container for the creative flow. And we can do this. There are many embodiment practices that do this, if you think about it. So, yoga, qigong, intentional, conscious dancing, all of these things kind of combine breath and movement. If we think about the word inspiration, to inspire actually means to breathe into. So we make space to receive, to breathe into the inspiration, to breathe into the knowledge that we are here to express. I actually have a practice called muse rising, which is a really beautiful embodiment practice that you can do in your morning or as a preparation for your creative ritual. And it's specifically created for this. So we make space, so we connect with our feet, with our womb, our heart, and our throat, to open up our creative channel and to be able to express our authentic selves. So I will link that below if you want to check it out. And then the third step is to tune our vessel, and we tune our vessel by the use of sound. And this can be so simple, because if you think about sound is frequency, and sound is how the most simple way to express our frequency, to live our purpose, basically. Especially if we do a sound practice before we get into the creation mode, before we get into our creative practice. Sound practice can allow us to literally fill ourselves with our own frequency, because then you dive into creating filled with your own frequency, ready to pour it into everything you do and everything you create. So let's try it right now, actually. So you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable, and maybe place one hand on your heart. Take a few deep breaths. And now on our next exhale, we are just going to hum. And again. And as you are doing that, try to feel the vibration of your sound, of your own frequency, moving through your whole body, and feel your whole body being filled with that frequency. And you can do this for a couple of minutes. You can start with just humming, and then you can actually let out a sound. It doesn't have to be singing. It doesn't matter if you're a singer or not. It's just about the vibration. I can already feel my channel of expression, my throat clearing right now, and that might happen to you too. You might start coughing because that's how it's being cleared. and just allow that, welcome it. And that's going to be all for today. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know in the comments how this practice was for you, as well as how all of this resonated. And I would love to know where you are in your creative practice, what are your biggest blocks, and what do you need most support with. Also, don't forget about the embodiment practice, go check that out. And if you need like a starting point for your creative liberation path, I have a free guide called Reclaim Your Inner Artist, which will also be linked below. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.